All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Kimchi Rednecks after Christmas haul. So basically what we got for ourselves.
Technically, what your parents got you and then what the girls and I got you for Christmas.
Right. So we got some boxes. We got some little stuff. My parents got me one of these little oak barrel kits.
From Redhead Barrels.
Redhead barrels.
It's a barrel.
Because you always want a redhead handling your wood. So I'm sure everybody's seen one of these variations online somewhere. I think this one's a 3 liter or a 4 liter. I'm not sure. But got 6 bands on it. Just at an eyeball look, it looks fairly tightened together, but I think you're supposed to soak this in water for a few days and see if it leaks anywhere, which is why we've also got barrel wax.
And we've also got instructions.
Yes.
And apparently there's a video tutorial for making sure we cure it correctly.
Right. So once it's cured correctly and waxed up if necessary, then we can put some whiskey in it and see how it comes out. Set that down there.
So Chuck has been looking at a new still for a little while. And he found this still that's from Kegland in Australia. But Australia will not ship to us here.
Unfortunately, they do not sell directly outside of the country. You have to go through one of the resellers.
And we couldn't find a South Korean, like a place in South Korea that actually sells them at this point.
Right. The closest one I could find was in Japan, but that dude didn't even have a website.
Wifey did a little researching and found Williams Brewing, which is in the States, and they ship to us.
There's a little story to go along with this. Originally, we ran into an issue because I had ordered the larger one of these, the 65 liter, and when my stuff arrived, I had like a fermenting kit. So I called them back and they were
very apologetic.
Too happy to help straighten out the issue. So they did wind up, they could send me the 35 liter. The 35 liter in America comes in 2 flavors. There's the 110 voltage, which is meant to run over obviously standard American outlets, and there's a 220 voltage. We're in South Korea. Everything in South Korea runs on 220, so I had to get them to send me the 221.
Now this is an Australian 220 plug, so we did have to get an adapter for 220 for Korea.
Right. That wasn't that hard though. They do make universal adapters. So, but all shout out to these guys for helping get the stuff redone and reshipped.
Now we told this story. Let's unbox our Digiboil.
Yeah, we're getting there. So
the Digiboil and the accessories that we purchased to go with it. We'll go over what we got.
Yes. So one thing I do like about this, which we'll find, it comes with a purge valve. So once you're done running your mash, you're not standing there with 2 people trying to dump your bucket out into the sink. We can just boop and drain it.
What do you think about that, May?
That right in and of itself is going to be major. So there's the standard lid that comes with it. And then there's the distilling lid, which has the hole in the center, if you can see that. There we go, hole in the center. The hole in the center will be important when we get to that box. Oh, let's see what else is in here. We got some activated carbon for charcoal filtering, which means I might not have to be crushing hardwood charcoal all that as often.
He might be happy about that.
And a proofing parrot. Oh, by the way, if y'all are noticing my lovely robe here.
It's made out of a Korean mink blanket.
Yes, this is a mink blanket house robe.
Oh, but wait, show them the best part of your robe.
Oh yeah, I got mine.
Your Sith Lord hood.
I got my Dark Lord of the Still. I can't see anything.
May's a little concerned about you. She just decided to stop watching for that moment. There you go, May.
This kit that they sent me, apparently comes with a rubber hose to beat somebody with. Stay.
The dogs all look at you like, what?
And a proofing parrot. So, yay, we got that. What else is it? Oh, there's the hydrometer to go in the proofing parrot. All right, groovy. Oh, there's the base. The ace of base. I saw the sign.
All right, that's on you.
Wah, ha-ha. All right.
It's pretty, and I'm gonna give props that it actually came with no dents, unlike our first still that we got.
Yeah.
So this is 35 liters or 8 gallons.
8 point something gallons, 9 gallons, something like that.
It says 8 actually.
Yeah, there's a graduation on it. If you go all the way up to the rim, I think it's 35.
Yeah, otherwise it's 30, right?
Yeah, it's 30 here where this line's at 8 gallons.
If you haven't been distilling long, you really kind of want to give a little bit of headway in your pot.
That way you don't end up with boil over. All right.
All right, so the nice thing about this is we don't have a condenser that we have to worry about. Everything is built in, so literally we don't have to worry about the heat. The heat is built in. We will literally just be plugging this in.
It's got 2 elements, a 1900 and a 500. So I have to find a user manual for this thing because I didn't find one in the box. I probably have to download it online or something. But if I remember correctly, you turn both of them on and then set your temperature on your control panel here, which is going to be, you know, your 180, 185, whatever temperature you want to get it to boil your alcohol out. And then when it gets up to near temperature, you can turn off the big element and leave it on the 500 to maintain the temperature. That way you're not pulling 2,500 watts of power the whole time. Great thing about this, it also has handles.
All right, so then the mash kit, which is in your other box.
Right. So if you're one of those people that you want to do your mash in here, you know, just put your water and your grains and everything and boil it and just be done, they make a kit for that.
Here, I'll unwrap that.
Yeah, that's the false bottom because it's got the feet.
It's got feet on it, so when it sits down.
So that goes in the bottom of this to keep any grain from getting to the bottom of the pot where the heating elements are.
Which is nice because you don't ever want to scorch your mash.
Yeah, to keep from scorching your grains. They wrapped this really well.
Hey, I am impressed. It actually all came through without any damage at all, which we can't say that for any of our Vivors because they were not wrapped nearly as well.
There we go, finally. They wrapped everything in this. All right, so you've got your grain, whatever you call this, your grain channel, grain ton, grain holder. There we go. And that has a false bottom.
So it'll sit on top of this.
It goes in there. So that will hold the grain in this. This goes on the bottom of this, and this sits above it. And then you pour in all your water, and you boil your grain, and there is a handle and a ring that you put on top of this that this suspends from.
And this has this.
Right. That's so you got a pull ring on the thing so you can get it out.
Yes.
But that's if you want to mash in your Digiboil.
Which we're kind of excited to try that because that could potentially clean up some of our areas.
Well, the good thing about that is since you have a handle on that bucket and you can suspend it, when you're done with your boiling and your gelatinization and whatnot, if you have a strap or even a frame or something, you can pull the whole bucket out and hang it from it. Run a strap over it and hang it from it and let it gravity drain back into the thing and do your sparging if you do that.
All right, so there is the Digiboil and the Digimash kit that goes with it. So this is
all the extras.
what else Chuck bought. I'm just gonna hand you stuff.
Right, so this is a snap lock cooling kit. I ordered, one of these comes with a kit and I ordered one and I sent me a third one for some reason.
So now we have 3.
I have 3, I have plenty of tubing here.
I like this actually.
This will actually be more help with our Vivor kits than anything else.
Yes.
This is like a 5-foot
I made sure he
brush.
ordered that when I saw that. This is your copper reflux.
Right, so one of 2 reasons why you don't have a condenser bucket with this, we've got a reflux column. Ow, that tape is really, there's the feed line, or the drain line, whichever you want to call it.
So obviously the more copper we can get touching our alcohol, the better, right?
Yeah, this tape is on there. All right, there we go. Haha, finally. So this screws into the distilling lid. It's got a little lock down here. And this is where those snap locks for the cooling, draining kit, whatever it is, come in handy. So you're gonna get your, and it comes with packing. It comes with column packing, that's what I'm talking about. I was not expecting that. This is your feed off, so you screw that in, and this is a little thin copper, so you can angle it down or out and down or whatever you need to drain your stuff with. And it comes with a temperature probe, which goes over here. So that goes in so you can see what the temperature in your column is. So if you're running, I'm probably gonna be using that little aquarium pump thing that come with my Vivor kit to push the water through here. If your column temperature's starting to go up a little bit, you can turn it up. If it's too cold, you can turn it down. That is the pot still lid.
Packing, they did amazing. I'm just gonna go ahead and give them 2 thumbs up on making sure everything is safely packed.
While she does that, we've got 2 of these, which are, I believe 10-inch extension tubes that go with these 2-inch tri-clamps. Yes, we got copper scrubbies. So to help with either your reflux or that, which is the pot still condenser, you can pop that on there. I got some copper scrubbies I can jam in there for a little extra reflux action. And then you can, you know, lock those together. And this is supposed to give you a more pot still flavor of alcohol condensing. So
it does have a condenser. The condenser is just built in, which is nice.
right. So the reflux style one, which is more like a column still, you're going to use more for your like gins and vodkas and your high proof neutral spirits. Your pot still one you're going to use more for like your whiskeys and brandies.
So now the question might be, you already have 3 Vivord stills. Why did you need a new still? And the reason why is basically we wanted something to play with. We wanted to try something new, and this one is possibly going to be an easier cleanup.
I was about to say cleanup is a very large part of it.
Will we stop using the Vivor? No, the Vivor has a thump keg. This does not have a thump keg. So
right, this is much more likely to be used for like a stripping run. Now, even with the column packing and the reflux stuff and all that, you can get some high proof alcohol out of it, but you can't really infuse anything. So you can run your alcohol through this to strip it out, and then we could still use the Vivor kit to use the thump keg for infusions and what.
We're gonna do our cleaning run, clean everything, and then we will do a first alcohol being actually corn whiskey through there.
We got some corn mash waiting on it.
It's the same mash run through the Digiboil and through the Vivor, and to see if there's a difference in taste, if there's a difference in outcome when you're pulling it out.
Is there a difference in volume?
Yeah. So we'll be back in a little bit with our first cleaning run. So we'll get it all set up, and then we'll see you guys in a bit.
We'll be back in a few to show you the cleaning run then.
I mean, if you're gonna buy your own Digiboil, wouldn't you like to see somebody do the cleaning run so you know how to clean it? I think they would.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so I got the regular lid here. You use this one for when you're just boiling stuff so that you can see through it. Now, as with anything that draws high wattage, you want to plug it directly into an outlet, not into an extension cord. This technically is an extension cord, but this is a 1-to-1 cord. So I think we'll pass on a technicality. So if I remember this correctly, we're going to turn both elements on. I'm going to turn the main switch on. It says currently we're at 12 Celsius, which makes sense because I just poured a bunch of cold water in here. And 100's boiling, so let's tell it 102. Blink 4 times, goes back to regular. All right, and then right now this light is red, which means it's heating. When it hits the specified temperature, it should turn green.
70.
It got hot enough that it started creating steam. That's what we were looking for.
We know that it's
First things first, we have the distillation lid. Now, I plan on using this 10-inch extension with some little copper packing in it to go with my pot still because I want a little bit of reflux action, help clean up my stuff a little bit. So first thing we're going to do is take this weldless 2-inch bung. All right, so that goes on top, that goes on bottom. Now, I've, for the most part, found, at least with the Vivor kit, that most of the fittings, especially if they have a gasket on each side, you can kind of hand tighten them, and it's usually enough. Let me open this up about as wide as it's going to go. There is a flat spot on the bottom side of this for, yeah. All right, so that's about as tight as I'm going to get that. Now without some bigger tools. I just noticed that I was looking at it, I'm off center on the hole. That might not be a problem, but it might be a problem. All right, so we got a bottle of, it says brewing vinegar. It's what we could find. We do have some white vinegar as well, but didn't know what else to use brewing vinegar for. So we've mixed that and water. I think we got about 2.5 gallons of liquid in here. Since this has electric eyes in it, as long as you have enough liquid to cover the electric eyes and the thermal sensor, you're good, technically good to go. Next part, we're gonna grab one of these clamps and a seal. So we're gonna put the washer on there. Put that on. There is actually a ridge on both sides of the washer that go into this ring here, so it's kind of self-centering. Somebody thought about that. And then you just lock your, yeah, these you just kind of hand tighten until they get tough. They should be good. Well, now I got this. These still tops are threaded, so technically you don't need this. You can just do this straight to the lid if you want, but if you're going to put it on an extension, you have to take the nut cap off. That being said, it has its own washer on it. Now we got that on there, and we can tighten that. Make sure you're covering your lip on all sides there, and you're not like some sort of weird cross thread. I assume that would not seal well. All right, the lid has a silicone seal on it as well, so we have lots of clamp those down. All right, so we're good there. What's next? These things. So they send you, I think this is like 10 or 12 or 15 foot of hose, which luckily if you have a VVOR kit, this does fit directly to one of the nipples for the water pump. So good to go. Get my scissors and these quick connects. So I'm gonna plug this in. Right, plug that into the pump. And now, apparently it does not matter which one of these sides you use as the inlet and which one you use as the outlet. It's just a simple system.
One in, one out.
One is in, one is out. Doesn't matter. So I am going to run the in over here. So I bought extra of this specifically in case I screwed it up. But this thing, if you can see, it has an inner shaft receptacle, whatever you call it there. And then there's an outer barb here. So take your, looks like a flare coupling, slide that over the plastic. Then the plastic goes over the inner barb, and then yep, don't cross thread your plastic. And as you tighten that up, it's gonna bite those barbs down into the plastic to keep it from kicking out. Now, you're not gonna run a fuel rail in your car off of this, but for the like 2 PSI that this little aquarium pump is pushing, it should work. So that goes on. I can always, or I can move the pump a little bit closer in the pot here. I'm just worried about getting a kink in the lineup here. If there's one thing I don't like about this one, it's that these barbs are pointing straight up. And that means your water has to go up and then in, and I don't particularly care for the physics of that. The reverse, we're gonna make a return line that basically is just gonna feed back into here. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, the good thing about this is unlike our VVOR kit, where we have to balance, we have an open top bucket and we have to balance the water flow coming into the bottom with the water flow going out of the top by creating a suction on it and then keeping an eye on it. This, as a closed system, whatever it pushes in here is going to push out at the same speed. You don't have to siphon the line or anything. It's going to go at the same speed. The only thing you have to worry about this, because this line has a little bit of a curl in it, is that it doesn't fall out of your sink and just blow water all over your kitchen. That would be a mess. She hates it when I make a mess. Put some. And this is only if you're doing a water recirculation. All right, so now that I've finished filling the bucket, what I was gonna say is if you don't like doing the recirculation method, they do include a adapter for either a garden hose or a regular threaded faucet, which you can put that in there and then plug that into the hose and run it that way. So there's an advantage and a disadvantage to both of those. The recirculation method that we got going here, this water will eventually warm up. Every so often we have to drain the water out, we have to put fresh cold water in. It's a bit of a chore, but it's not terribly difficult. If you use the faucet method or the garden hose method, your water is going to stay cold because it's whatever temperature it comes out the tap. But as soon as it runs through this little thing and comes out the other end, it's going right down the drain. So you're using more water overall. We got that done up, that's tightened up, that's tightened up.
What goes to the parrot? 'Cause that's the
Right.
stuff, right?
The parrot, yes. Now, if we were using a parrot, which we're not at the moment because this is a cleaning run, there's a hose, little hose that comes in the kit. Get it over the end of the nipple here. Wherever you're putting your parrot at, you can nip the line. I'm not going to cut it at the moment. Just make sure it feeds into here. And as long as your feed here is higher than your drain here, alcohol will recirculate and your hydrometer will bob in there and tell you what your average alcohol in your cylinder is at the moment. Right, so what I'm going to do for the moment, so that we don't just blow hot stuff all over the table here, I am going to use this. I'm just going to dump it in there. There we go. That ought to work. 2 eyes on, main power on. It's a checklist. I'm like Starship Enterprise. All right, temperature is currently 47 C, which is still pretty warm. It still remembers 102 as our last temperature. All right, and the light is red, so it is heating. Oh, temperature probe. We forgot the temperature probe. All right, so this, if you can see it, there's a little insert port up here on the back end of this. And now from what I hear, this is pretty firm, so you're gonna have to get it in there. Actually, that went right in. That's actually a little loose in there. Okay, well, oatmeal, seal it.
Different, right?
Yeah, there have been some minor changes as we figure this out. We took the intermediary column off, so now we're just going straight to the pot still head. So while yes, in the correct circumstance, this little pump from the Vevor kit, I think it says it's a 400 liter per hour pump, does push water through the system. It does not push it very well uphill. So the way we had it before with this in the sink and
That on the table?
that on the little table, so it was up here, was very low water flow and the water was coming out hot. We dropped it to the floor and it got a little bit better. The way this is designed with these two heads sticking up is possibly the worst way I think they could have designed that, because these snap-on things are never going to be 100% tight. If you wiggle them too much or you adjust them too much, they start dripping, and that's your plastic on plastic on plastic. That's what it's going to be. I think our number one solution is going to be a pump with a little more oomph to it. That may just be specific to this pot still head. The reflux still head has the prongs coming out parallel out of the other side that the feed comes from. But that being said, it does boil stuff. It does a great job of boiling. So for all that Melissa was saying there, because we just realized she's not wearing her microphone, the plan is, as mentioned, we're going to finish our run here. Then we're going to go down to probably Panda Pam, because they've got an aquarium section, see if we can't find a healthier pump, and then see where we go from there. I guess next time it'll be a video about our first run in this one. Hopefully we'll solve all our problems by then. All right, hold up, hold that thought. We got some additions to make. So first off, if you noticed, we were having problems with the attachments to the lid here. These things with the, what do you call them? Pneumatic style fittings, that's what I'm calling it. With the way this is designed, they go like straight up and then arc over toward whatever your water source is. We were having bad problems with these leaking and dripping down the pot and like flopping over the wrong direction, the hose kinking, just problems. So I found at our local little Panda Pam, these little plastic fittings. I did not remember to get a picture of this before I put these on here, but in here there's like a little 3-ring system. The inner ring has teeth on it, which will grab onto the hose once you push it through. Behind that is a plastic washer to help keep it pushed flat, and then behind that an O-ring to seal it. So I got a little bit of hose on each one of these ends, and one of them goes into the little pneumatic fitting. And first test on this, these were a whole lot better at, well, basically just not flopping all over the place and not kinking the line because I've got a bend there. But now I can, you know, put these either direction and straight toward the water source. Now, update on the water source, our little pump that came from the Vevor system, which is, I think it's like a 40-watt pump or something. I'm not an expert on aquarium pumps, but while it was pushing water through it, it was not pushing it through quickly, and it would get air bubbles caught in the system and it wasn't strong enough to push them through. So we got a bigger pump. Now this is, I believe, a 50-watt pump, and it says, oh, it's 42-watt pump. And according to the box, it says it will push between 2,000 and 2,500 liters per hour, where the other one was like 400. So according to the box, this is doing a lot better. On our first pressure test on it, it did push all the air bubbles out of the line, but the return line wasn't, I mean, it wasn't spewing water, but water was coming out of it steadily, and I guess that's all you need. So we're gonna do another test run today with some unnamed brand box wine that I found cheap. And that brings me to my third update. Now, sticking with my redneck roots, and partially Melissa's idea, yes. Okay, so it was mostly totally our idea. We got these little footstools, which were not big enough, so we had to adapt. And we got one of these. In Korea, it's a kind of like a bathroom mat, but it's not a bathroom mat. It's a wooden plank to keep your feet off the freezing cold tiles in the winter. So we just kind of screwed those together, made a little platform to get this off the ground, but not high enough that the water couplings are out of whack or messing up our ceiling or any of that stuff. So I'm gonna set this stuff up and we're gonna do a test run. All right, so view from the other side here. You can see it's warming up. We've got it set to 85, which should be 185 Fahrenheit. I got my little tube drained down to my little cup there, which that's a temporary measure until we come up with something better. But what I wanted to point it out to you was my most enthusiastic moonshine assistant, Dougie. She is so diligent. She's right here. I wish I could have got her a minute ago. She was standing there. She had her head up over the edge of the thing. She was sniffing the pot. I was quality assuring. I was making sure everything was running just right. Isn't she so earnest? Is she so lovable? She's so cute. And then there's assistant Moonshine Doggy standing over in the corner. She don't want to get too close. She's like, I'm just here to watch the show. She's like, I am here for you. I will help you. Will you feed me anything? Hello, Mayhem. Yes, we're still here. All right, that's Moonshine Doggy checking in on you. So, excuse the mismatched temperatures, but we are currently at 79, almost 80 Celsius at the pot. So, 85 Celsius is 185 Fahrenheit, and that should be when we're getting alcohol steam. So when that reaches 85 and goes into station keeping, I will turn off the bigger of the two elements and let the 500 watt maintain the temperature, just for economy purposes. And when this thermometer, which is in Fahrenheit, reaches 130 degrees, we will turn on the pump. Because that's what the instruction video said. Isn't that right, May? Suki Sue, you agree? Oh, there we go. We got a face. We got a face. How's that face? Oh, you want to be the face? Oh, she's enthusiastic about this, y'all, I tell you. All right, so we got a setup running here. I'm figuring out the ins and outs. I think I've got a little bubble airlocking one of my lines, but I still have water flowing through, so it's cooling the condenser enough. We are getting alcohol. Personal tip, if you're using cheap boxed wine to do a testing/cleaning run, expect it to come out as vinegar, because, oh boy, burn the hair off your will to live. Eesh. Now, this is all getting tossed.
Maybe, what did you think about this?
But we're going to toss this, and I'm going to try maybe shortening that little bit of hose right there and see if I can't get that airlock out of it. And then we're going to boil some water and clean this through before we run some corn mash through it. But I think we got the general idea going here. Time to make some liquor. All right, so we're back, and we have two suspiciously similar looking jars of liquor. So, good old corn liquor. We had some mash, and we were testing.
This is the same mash build, same mash.
It's literally the same mash. We put half in the Vivor and half in our new Kegland. So, now differences in how they cook off. This was actually somewhat, not necessarily entertaining, but informative. The Vivor, as it's always done when we cooked it off, it starts off at 100 and, since we weren't doing the thump keg because we wanted to keep it as simple and as similar as possible. Started off at about 130, 135 proof, and then like every jar goes down a little bit. It was 130, then it was 125, and then it was 120. And so it went down the scale as it normally does until you get to the point where you're in the tails. The Kegland, however, started producing at about 150 proof, about 70-75%, and it stayed there. Every jar that came off was about the same until about the fourth or fifth jar I pulled off, and then it's dropped down a little bit to about 140. A couple jars at that level, dropped down to, I think about 110 is where I pulled it, because not that I was getting less alcohol, like in proof, but that the alcohol started dripping so slowly, even though I had the pot all the way up to almost boiling. I think I just cooked all the alcohol out of it.
You also said that, unlike with the Vivor, when we get towards our tails, we usually get that manky smell.
Yeah, you get that wet dog smell,
So
and that
you're done
cardboard
then.
taste.
With the Kegland,
I didn't really get that.
I don't know what. So, kind of impressed the fact that we didn't get to that point. We possibly could have run it for longer, but I don't know that we would have gotten
It's
much more. And the smell, oh my gosh.
the smell on this.
You open this up and it smells corn. It's corn.
It
It's
literally
total corn.
smells like liquid corn. It's beautifully.
The nose on it was so impressive to me.
So, I've tempered both of these jars down to 50%, 100 proof, since they're the same mash, just through 2 different stills, and we're gonna see what the difference is.
Yay!
Crack open our regular Vivor pot.
And how be the nose on that one, Chuck?
Not strong. There's a hint of...
I can smell the corn, but it's just not as strong. And what is this tempered to, 100?
100.
A little bit hot still for me.
Yep.
But it's not a bad hot.
It's not like set you on fire hot. It's just, ooh, that's good hot.
Okay.
But it does have a little more corn on the taste than it does on the
Yeah.
nose. It's good and clean flavor. I will give it that. It's not a manky or swampy or anything. It's a clean corn flavor. Nothing wrong with it. All right.
It still smells corny. Well, I like that they're both like super clear though, so
Oh, yeah.
definitely no issues with
Yeah, they are
clarity.
almost painfully clear. So instead of sticking our nose in the jar to see if it smells like corn.
I already did that.
I know.
Are you making fun of me?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's fun.
But it's corny.
So are we.
Ain't that the truth?
So this is a little stronger on the nose on the corn.
Much stronger on the nose on the corn.
And it smells, this is the weird bit, considering that we just used frozen Korean corn for this. It smells like sweet white corn.
Ooh, that's a little stronger than I thought it was.
It's definitely got a little more gas to
It's
it,
got a little more hit to it, yeah. When we first tempered it down, it didn't have that much hit.
But you can tell a very similar flavor because obviously they're the same mash. This one does have a stronger corn flavor to it, a stronger corn smell to it.
I also feel like the difference in running them is with the Vivor, you have to be on it. You have to be sitting there, you have to kind of
Now,
be watching it.
To be fair, we have to be sitting there watching it because the magnetic induction eye we're using is
Yes.
designed for cooking, not for distilling, so it has a timer built in. It will only stay on for so long and then it will auto turn off.
However, the Kegland one, the Digiboil, has a temperature locked into it, so it does not go above that temperature.
It's got a control panel on it, and it will get up to that temperature, and therein lies the thing that you have to watch about for this that I found. The steam temperature / pressure in the head, if you set your temperature to say 90 degrees C, or whatever that equates to in Fahrenheit, it will get to that temperature, and then it will turn off the elements. And when it goes down, I think it's about 2 degrees C because I'm running it in Celsius, it'll turn them back on and warm it back up. The problem with that is when it stops applying heat to the pot, the steam pressure goes down. So you stop dripping alcohol out. And then when it turns back on, it's got to heat that steam pressure back up. So what I found to be the effective way, just for me, your experience may vary, is to run the heat on the pot up to about 86 to 88 C, which is about 185 to 190 Fahrenheit, I think. And then turn the big element off. There's 2 elements, a 1900 watt and a 500 watt. Turn the 1900 watt element off, and then jack the temperature up to about 95 C. That 500 watt element will take forever to get that last 5 degrees C, and that will maintain your steam pressure in the head so you're constantly running alcohol. Science lesson.
But let's talk about price difference too.
Okay.
Vivor, you're looking at,
I think anywhere from 100 to 150 depending on which kit you get.
so as a beginning, I'm learning the craft, I want to know how to do it. Vivor is a very good value.
It's a great way to get your toes in the water.
When you are ready to up your game a little bit, Digiboil is a lot more expensive.
If you can get it, we had a time getting it here because they don't have a Korean reseller here, so we had to go somewhere else.
So it's made in Australia, and so they shipped it from Australia to the US, and the US shipped it to Korea for us. Williams Brewing did an awesome job in satisfying, taking care of everything.
So Williams Brewing in California.
We will link them in the, is it in California?
Yeah, I think it's in
It
California.
was in Ohio. We will link Williams Brewing in the description.
Whether it's in California or Ohio.
Watch us both be wrong, and it's like in Indiana.
But
They were fast.
they were fast.
Efficient.
They were very kind about the fact that our original order, it went through the system, but they got kicked back by the postal system.
But their customer service was it was just
on point.
Yeah.
Miss Janice, this shot's for you.
Miss Janice. Thank you. She is the real MVP.
Yes. She's the MPV.
Damn, how many sips have you had?
It's good shine. She's the MPV.
MVP. Oh my God.
Of this video. But both of these are good. They're both decent products.
Now we're going to age one and leave one.
Yes, we're going to leave one of these clear and let it be
Moonshine.
Moonshine.
White lightning.
And then we're going to use some oak spiral and fast age some of it to go with some of our other stuff. And then we'll see if we can mix those two together.
That's the plan.
That's it for us. Like, subscribe, do the internet stuff. We'll see y'all later.